Young couple disappeared after meeting up with a man they met on Craigslist. Trigger warning. July 2nd, 2014, 25-year-old Charles and his girlfriend, 18-year-old Brooke, who was 8 months pregnant, were posting ads on Craigslist asking for money. They posted a lot of ads in the Help Wanted section, but they also offered schmegs work in the activities column. So about 10 days later, one of their posts got a response from a man named Mike. Mike said, "I can host. What are you thinking? I'm 25. So after talking back and forth for a few minutes, they agree on a price and decide to meet up at a public park where there won't be any police and they won't get caught, and that would be a big mistake. So just after midnight, Brooke and Charles arrive at the park first, but then a man later identified as 31-year-old Brady Ostrike pulls up a few minutes later. Thinking this was just another hookup, the couple isn't worried, and Brooke walks over to Brady's car when all of a sudden Brady snatches her up and stuffs her in his trunk before Charles even realized what happened. So Charles runs over to try to help Brooke, but is unsuccessful, and that was when Brady viciously unalived him on the spot. So Brady drags Charles over to the woods, takes off his head, covers his body with some sticks, and then takes the head back to the car with Brooke locked in the trunk and leaves with the head in the front with him. So a few days later, the police find Charles's car and remains abandoned at the park, and after speaking with their families, they learn his pregnant girlfriend is still missing, and after seeing what happened to him, they knew they better find her fast. So after going through all their devices and messages, they learned that Brady Ostrike was the last person they talked to and was supposed to meet up with, so now the police knew they had to find Brady to find Brooke. Police stake out his home while they await a search warrant because they didn't have enough evidence for an arrest warrant by this point, and it was a frustrating roadblock. The hours would tick by without much happening, and all the police could do was sit outside of Brady's home and wait until they got that warrant. However, on July 17th, Brady was seen coming out of his home and getting into his car around 9 p.m., so the police pulled him over, but by the time the officer got up to his car, Brady hit the gas and drove off, leading the police on a high-speed chase. But eventually, Brady lost control of the car and struck a cement barrier, and before the police could apprehend him, he unalived himself in the front seat. Sadly, when the police searched the trunk of his car, that was where they found Brooke's remains. Her and her unborn baby were both deceased. But police were about to be even more shocked and disturbed when they went back to search Brady's home. His house was a disgusting mess. The plumbing was so backed up, the toilets were full of urine and feces, and the police said the rancid smell would knock you down. The police found a plethora of ropes, knives, sword, cages, straps, and other bizarre things, and a lot of torture type stuff. The police found women's clothing and kids' sippy cups in the home, so it makes me wonder, did he have other victims? Brady had cameras all over his home, and the police had to go through all that footage, and that was when they learned he spent months planning this and had been preparing the basement to hold his victims hostage. In this clip, he was using rope to make restraints. He was also seen picking out lingerie for his victim to wear. Things got even worse when the police realized Brooke's entire ordeal, including her murder, had been caught on camera. Footage showed 8-month pregnant Brooke pleading for her and her baby's life while Brady kept her restrained with her hands handcuffed behind her back and a chain locked around her neck. Brady also bound her arms to the ropes hanging from the ceiling and would leave her dangling there for hours in between assaults. Footage showed Brooke was beaten, tortured, and essayed for 5 long days until Brady finally unalived her on the last day. And through the footage, the police also learned that Brooke was still alive for some time while they were outside surveillance in his home, and they could have saved her had it not taken so long to get that search warrant. Years later, Charles's head was finally found off some back roads about 17 miles away from the park in which he was unalived. Brady had a past assault charge and a history of domestic violence. Brady hated women and thought they were beneath him, and he displayed a lot of red flags that went ignored. He often posted his dark thoughts and his hatred towards women on Facebook for everyone to see. A woman who was roommates with Brady said she was never afraid of him until he confessed that he was having thoughts of unaliving her and that she better move out before that happened, so she did. She said Brady was very intelligent but also very sick. I urged him to seek mental health services, but he refused. Brooke's friend said Brooke did not like living like this, especially while pregnant, but she was in a toxic relationship with an older man who had groomed her. They met when Brooke was a junior in high school, and soon she quit school and left home, and it was nothing her parents could do because the legal age in Michigan was 17. Instead of getting a real job to feed their habit, he put her and their baby's life in danger for a few dollars, and he liked to watch. As her pregnancy progressed, she wanted to go home to her family and clean up her life and be a good mother to her baby, but she felt guilty leaving Charles behind. Brooke's family said when we found out they were meeting people online, we begged her to stop and please come home. Brooke was loved, and we made sure she knew she always had a home to come back to no matter what. She would have been a wonderful mother because she was the happiest around children. We miss her. It's a chilling end to a disturbing online saga that really drives home the fact that you don't know who you're meeting online until you come face to face.